A newly released security report concluded that when Canada closed its Iranian embassy back in 2012, there was no dire threat to embassy staff. The biggest threat was of a potential earthquake, although to be fair, the report didn't include any imaginary threats like Islamic ghost witches or WMDs, witches of mass destruction. You might remember that Iran was included in the Axis of Evil of 2001. The Axis of Evil, not an Avengers sequel, an actual phrase presented to adults to help them better understand the world. But when reporting on Iran, most of the media ignores certain history. In 1951, the Iranian people made the unforgivable mistake of electing someone who wanted to nationalize their oil industry. In response, the U.S. installed a torturing dictator, the Shah. The New York Times said this about it at the time. Underdeveloped countries with rich resources now have an object lesson in the heavy cost which must be paid by one of their number that goes berserk with fanatical nationalism. The Iranian people forgot that object lesson and in 1979 overthrew the Shah. In response, the U.S. backed Saddam Hussein when he attacked the country and killed hundreds of thousands of people. Given how threatened Canada recently felt by a couple of lone killers, you can imagine how we'd react to these slightly bigger acts of aggression. Our newspapers would be exclusively all caps. The National would be renamed just a series of exclamation marks. Canada supposedly closed our embassy because Iran was a clear and present danger, but the clear and present danger was to Iran, not from it. It's been continuously threatened with attack by the U.S. and Israel, which both have nuclear weapons. Blaming the situation on Iran is a geopolitical version of, what are you hitting yourself for? Iran might be a threat to its own people, though maybe not as much as some of our allies like Saudi Arabia. But the only threat it poses to the West is the threat of not being under its control, aka evil.